Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? Hi, hi, hi. For those of you who don't know what we're going to be doing today, what we're actually going to do is I'm going to swatch and test a bunch of different supplies so that you guys can kind of see. I've also got the prices over here of all the different supplies that we're going to be testing today so that if you're in the market for some new watercolors, I can help you make some different decisions. It's 5 a.m. Well, good morning. That is truly morning. Montana? Where is everybody watching from? Where is it where you are 5 a.m. today? That's gotta be... I'm trying to think of where that might be. Somewhere in Europe? No, I've got my times wrong. Yep. Australia, Serbia, Northern California, Oklahoma, Missouri, Quebec. Oh my goodness. Virginia, and it's snowing. We had our snowy weather last week here in Colorado. It's Australia. I should know that. I used to know the time difference between Australia and here like the back of my hand. I used to live in Australia, and so when I had to kind of know so I could plan time to talk to my family. Germany, I mixed that one with Indiana. Indiana, Washington, Germany. My goodness. You've entering the coloring phase, watercolor phase. Nice. Well, it is so nice to have everyone here. We're just going to kind of jump into this. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I took the money that I earned from the Creator Fund last year, and I bought all that I could buy with that fund from both Blick and Jerry's. And so the supplies today are going to range in price from about $5 to, I think the highest price one I bought from them was the Sennelier one, which is about $70. I don't know if I'm going to include that in today's one because I feel like that's more towards the high end. But I did even try to get, I got the basic Daniel Smith one that's about $40, just to kind of compare some different things. And so we're going to be talking kind of about value. We'll also talk about what I typically look for in pans. And the other thing that I want to note is that I specifically did not buy tube paint. I went after everything that had pan paint because in my experience, there is less quality difference between pans. So sometimes the tubes, like Daniel Smith tubes, are absolutely wonderful. And I've tested a bunch of different tubes, and things like the koi tubes, not great. But the koi pans are good. And so I wanted to kind of stick with that because I think it shows the colors a little better. I know, yeah, we had Andrea first today, and then now me. So yes, it's a good watercolor day. For sure. All right, any requests on the specific ones to start with? Do you guys want me to start with low, go from low to high, or do you want me just to kind of jump around on some different ones? I have not tried, no, actually I have tried the Arteza tubes. No, do not like them. I tried to depot some and they molded. So Arteza, big thumbs down from me. Low to high, okay. So starting low to high, I'm gonna need to grab this one. This one is, let's see, how much was this one? This one was about $5, a little over $5. This is the Jack Richardson, and then this is another, I'm pretty sure this is the Sargent Art one. They've recently changed their packaging and the colors that are included, so we are going to have a little difference in these. Now, for the sake of time, because I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have around actually 15 different palettes to swatch today. So what we're going to do is maybe we'll swatch just like 3 or 4 colors from each one, and then we can kind of further deep dive in some of these. I am going to start by just wetting both of these. We're going to start with these two colors. Let's start with the Sargent Art one, and then also this one. One thing to notice is these ones are a little bit chalkier. These are the Sargent Art ones. They're not like super duper chalky, but they are chalkier. And these ones are the Jack Richardson ones. These are semi-moist. So these ones have a different feel, and you can kind of see that these ones are a little shinier than these ones. Let's first talk about a couple things. One is this one broke like instantly. And so that's not super great. It came cracked, and even though I think I did actually kind of like these ones, but if you can't keep the package, I mean, all I did was swatch these and it broke. So I feel like that's not a good sign. And this would probably be more like a kid's supply. And, you know, kids are not super kind to their supplies, so this would probably break right away. The other thing that I like to look for is how useful the palette is. Both of these technically have little, like, possible mixing wells, but they're so shallow that it's actually going to be really hard. So you'd actually need to buy a separate supply to be able to mix up colors. And that would be a little bit frustrating because it takes up more space, and also then you just have to buy something else. So what I'm kind of thinking for each one is typically what I look for in a palette that's going to do pretty much everything for me is I want a nice bright blue that can sometimes be more of a phthalo blue. Sometimes it can be more of an ultramarine, but I want it to have more brightness to it. I need a nice neutral yellow. And then I typically like a magenta because I find that instead of red, that helps me swatch a little bit better and make brighter colors. So that's typically what I'm looking for. So yeah, we'll do a yellow, a blue, and either a red or a magenta so that we can see kind of the best way to do this. So we only have one yellow in this one. This is the Jack Richardson. This is the brightest blue here. And then I'm actually going to do both of these because this isn't really a magenta. It's more of a purple, but it's kind of magenta. And then this is a red. Okay, so we have to kind of start by letting them wet, and then we can actually see what they're going to do. You can always tag me when you finish a piece. Absolutely, I love seeing what you guys paint. I do talk with my hands quite a bit, even in person. I'm not sure how I would do if somebody tied my hands. Okay, so let me mark this. This is the Jack Richardson. I'm just going to write Jack for simple sake. And I want to test a couple things with each of these colors. So I'm going to just kind of go in here and let's just see, oops, it already dripped some. Let's just see kind of what a nice solid, let me make sure I actually get a bunch in there, stripe would do. So this is actually pretty transparent, and I would give this a rating for the amount of pigment in there. I mean, this is a kid's supply, so that's not too surprising. The other thing I'm going to do is I want to see how this moves as I move kind of down with this and see how much it disperses, because some of these are going to have more interesting effects. This is the first comparison. Yes, we just started. And then let's also just see how well it lifts. Okay, it lifts great. Lifts really, really well. The pigmentation is not super great. And the it's not that exciting when it kind of disperses. So, but again, this is about a $5 set. and so we want to limit our expectations here. I'm going to go into the blue next. Try to grab a bunch of that. I'm really trying to get down into the color to give it its best shot. And I'm going to give that another for the pigmentation. It's decent. It disperses nicer than the yellow though. And let's check its lifting. Lifts pretty good. And finally, we're actually going to do, I think I'm just going to do the red on this one because this one is too purple leaning to be a good mixing color. And again, kind of an type reaction to the pigmentation. It's not bad. Like I could paint with these for sure, but are they that great? I don't know. Lifts great. This one, it absolutely lifts great. That I would give it points for that. Let's also do an extra thing just because I want to make sure that we're kind of testing some things. Let's actually try to mix up a green and a purple too with these. I'm just going to take some of this red and some of this blue. And this is what I would get if I actually mixed up kind of a purple color. And then let's do that with the yellow and the blue. And I mean, you can definitely mix up some colors, but see how we're kind of missing some vibrancy in those colors just because they're not super duper great. Okay, so there is the Jack one. If I were to give this a rating for value, it's pretty good. I mean, I don't have super high expectations from this because it's only $5. So if you're in kind of the $5 range, this isn't a terrible buy, but I think you can actually get some better results if you spend just like a couple extra dollars. All right, next up, this is going to be hard to try to get all of this in frame. Next up is what I believe to be the Sargent art. As part of the packaging, the little insert that said what it was also fell out, and I cannot find it. So this is the brightest blue, this is the brightest yellow, and then, ooh, I don't know which one. Hold on, let me get a tester strip and let's test which, if we have more of a magenta color, because I would prefer a magenta. Okay, so here is one red. That's kind of more of a magenta. That one could work. And here is the red. I'm going to go with the magenta type color on this one. All right, so I've got my 3 that I'm going to be testing. This is, I'm going to put a question mark next to this. Should we do some sort of a rating as we go down? Maybe I'll put this one as a meh plus. It's decent, but it's not great. All right, starting with this yellow. Better pigmentation right off the bat. This one is also about a $5 one too, so let's keep that in mind, that we're kind of comparing a similar number of colors to the same kind of what we should expect is the quality. Now, my big gripe with this one is that the packaging fell apart. Let's see how well it lifts. Does not lift quite as well, but it still lifts pretty well. Now let's grab this blue. This is more like the blue I would typically want to have when I would be mixing up colors. It's more vibrant. I like how that one kind of disperses. It's got really pretty dispersing, and it lifts pretty well too. And then let's go in with this kind of magenta-esque red. It's not, I wouldn't call this like a true magenta, but it's something kind of similar. And I gotta move this over. I like this color a lot. Yes, that one's really pretty. Does not lift quite as well, but typically I find that reds stain more, so that makes sense. And then let's mix up our two colors, starting with our purple. I think that's personally a more vibrant purple because of the colors that are there. Let me get you over there. And then let's mix up a green as well. Oh yeah. So this one you would be able to mix up less muddy colors with. It does come with quite a few different colors in it. I'm going to give this one a plus, with a caveat that I wish the packaging was better. So this is the Sargent one. The packaging fell apart, came cracked, and also this brush that comes in here is, I can't even get it out. I mean, it is kind of a joke. You're not going to be able to do very much with that brush. Yeah, purple and green would make kind of a grayish type color. All right, so next up, so now I need to go towards, let me find my other colors. As we move up this is the Prang set. I'm gonna move next towards Prang, and then this little cute guy here. This is a watercolor set from Jerry's with just some basic colors in here. And both of these are around $10. So we're kind of moving up a little notch in price. And when we look at these packages, so on our first ones, this one is nice and sturdy. This would be harder to break. And I also like the mixing wells that this comes in. All right, I'm gonna need to clean that up because I left a little bit of red in there. So let's clean this up. That should be good. And then let's spray this. Watercolors in tubes can be super useful, but that's my blue I'm gonna grab. But I find that there's just more variation in the quality. I'm gonna go ahead and spray my Jerry's ones too. And this is so little, I'm just gonna have to spray all of them. All right, so first up with the Sargent, the yellow, or not Sargent, this is Prang. Let's start with this yellow color. Did it sit long enough? Let me make sure. So this one's pretty good. It's kind of in between, I would say, the Jack one and the Sargent as far as the pigmentation. And as it dries, actually it is lightening a lot more than what I would typically like, but that's where we're at with it. And let's go in with the blue as well. This is a, the pigmentation on this one is not quite what I would like, but I do like that it's kind of a more cool blue than this blue that was in that top one, because it's going to mean that I can actually do a lot more with the color mixing because it doesn't lean more towards the red side. This one's more of a neutral blue color. Let me see, I'm losing track of the comments. All right, so I'm going to go in here with this kind of red type color. Am I in frame? Let's make sure. And this is kind of funny. This one is also kind of in between these two colors. And it's all right. It's pretty good. Not the best, not the worst. So let's mix up our two different colors. Starting with our purple. Decent color. And then into our green. Well, I'm really making that color muddy. Whoops. And that one is okay. You know, Prang used to be kind of my go-to for recommending different lower price ones. And I don't typically like the Crayola set, the washable one. The one that's more the mixing one that isn't a washable set is better. So this one I'm going to give... this one I'm probably also going to give a meh plus because the saturation is not what I want, but I do like this packaging and I think it's a lot more accessible for making sure that you're going to be able to actually do a bunch of different stuff. There's some good colors and, you know, especially if you're in the market for more of like a kid's watercolor, this is one that you could give them. They probably wouldn't break. And then it does actually, I don't know where the brush is, but the brush that comes with this is actually pretty decent. So I think this one is a pretty good value for money on like the kids spectrum of things if you don't care so much about like super duper pigmentation. I'm going to say this is because of packaging. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you guys have a better rating scale, my problem with the rating scales is it's hard to figure out what to like rate them on because they're all so different. They're going to include different colors and different price points and stuff. All right, now on to this little Jerry's one here. Let's see, how can I get this better in frame here? This little set I think is super cute. As far as the packaging, it's just kind of cute. And I think it's more meant to be like an out in the wild sketching real quick kind of a thing, something you could almost throw in your pocket and use. But it doesn't have a lot of possibilities for mixing and things like that, so that does make it a little bit harder. This brush is adorable, but and the bristles are not bad, but I'm not really sure what you'd really be able to paint with that. I mean, you could paint with it, but let's see what the colors look like. And so let me mark this one as Jerry's. Put it on top, maybe. I can't put it up here because it's still wet. Let's see. Starting with the yellow, I can probably actually just hold this one. So my expectations for something like this would be that it would have better pigmentation than the other ones because you're getting less, and it absolutely does. Look at that gorgeous yellow color. Let's see how well it lifts. It lifts okay. This one's more staining, but you do get more pigment payoff, for sure. All right, and then let's take this one. We could actually use either of these blues as kind of our middle blue, but I'm going to go for the more true blue color here. This is more of a kind of true ultramarine color. And you can really tell how much more pigmented these colors are kind of right off the bat. You get more coverage with them. So the pigments in here, I would say, are higher quality than the previous ones. And this one is about $10. Lifting is, again, not quite as good, but you know, the more pigment we have, the more we need to lift off. And then let's take this red here. Great saturation. This is more of kind of like a vermilion-esque red, which means it has some yellow undertones, which will limit some of our mixing possibilities, but it is a beautiful color. And again, doesn't lift quite as well as the other ones, but that doesn't really surprise me that much. All right, so let's start by mixing up our purple. I'm just gonna mix it up on here. And yes, this is going to be a sticking point because this red here, and that's the only red I have access to in here, is more of a yellow leaning red. We're not gonna really be able to get a purple because that yellow in there is going to really muddy that color. So your mixing abilities on this, I wish they'd chosen more of a neutral red or more of a magenta color in this set to make sure that you could actually mix on the go, because I can't really make a purple with this set. Maybe with, let's just double check. Let's try to make it with this. Nope. That's not purple either. That's more of a black. So that is one big downfall with this set. Let's try to do the green. Oh, I did not mix that well enough in my brush. Sorry, I had a bunch of blue left in my brush. Let me wipe that off and try that again. All right, we can get a pretty decent green from that. I don't know, how should I rate this one? Because I like the pigmentation. I think these feel like really nice quality paints, but I am frustrated by their selection of that red color, which limits my color mixing possibilities. What do you guys think? Leave it at just a meh? A 7? I feel like this is going to be, I don't know if anybody watches The Office, but you know that one where Michael is at the beach day and Pam's like, at some point you gave Jim 7 stars, Tony, or, whatever, like, Stanley 3 pluses. A meh minus. Okay. We'll say a meh to a meh minus kind of a thing. I definitely feel like these are better quality pigments in these, but yeah, this really limits what you'd be able to do with this set, and so that's a huge, huge downfall. This is the blue I was using, so there isn't a purple in here. Okay, so let me double check my price sheet because we're going from low to high. So next up, it looks like I'm going to grab this one called Pelican, and then also the let's just do the Pelican first. So this Pelican set is about $15 to $16. This is definitely more of a kids type set. Yeah, let's make a little note of that. Good note, good note. All right, so here's the Pelican set, and this one really does kind of feel like a kid's set, just the way that it's kind of set up. It is nice and sturdy though, so again, this would be a really good one for kids to use. And it's got nice deep wells, so if they were sitting there and they were mixing up these colors, there'd probably be less spillage because there's actually more kind of room in these. I'm gonna wet my colors. I'm gonna wet both of these because I don't know which one I want to use. This one feels a little chalkier, but it's not like gonna completely rub off or anything. And then I do like that this includes a white, just because, especially for kids, that would be kind of a fun addition in here. Yes, as long as this saves, I'm going to be posting a recap video. We're going to put these here. I think then you guys can see them. So the tube is just, it's like a white gouache color. Also, this one you could, not all brushes are going to fit in there, but you could fit most brushes in here, so this would be kind of a nice little self-contained kit. And this one, again, is around $16. Hello, hello! All right. Oh, I need to write this one down. This is Pelican. I don't know why, but painting on live is less nerve-wracking than writing. My handwriting is terrible. Okay, let's grab this yellow from the Pelican. And let's put this here. Pretty decent saturation. This is a slightly more green-leaning yellow, though. It's almost, it's like in between like a lemon yellow and a medium yellow. You did the watercolor double feature today. Yeah, did anybody else paint Andrea's sunflowers today? And then let's grab our blue. Mustard, yes. Yeah, and okay, one other thing that I do like to see included in a palette is I love a good yellow ochre color, and this one has that, so that is kind of nice. We got a bunch of people doing the double feature today. This blue is nice. Got great pigmentation on this one. Oops, and I got it all over my finger too. Since this is meant to be more of a kid set, also I think I just put this hand right on my face. But since this is meant to be more of a kid set, let's see how well that actually comes off of my finger and if it stains. Because that would be a kind of a good test to see. Because more than likely, this is what's going to happen with your kids. Comes off pretty well, so that's good. Maybe a little. Oh. It looks like I just put my whole thumb basically in that color. Yeah, that came off pretty well. And let's go in. Let's see. Do you guys want to see the pink tested with this, or should we do the pink or the red? Because they actually both look like they would work about as well as one or the other. Pink, red, pink, red, pink, red, red, red. Okay, I think we're going with, oh man, this is hard. You guys are really split on this. I think it's leaning a little more towards red. All right, we're going red. Okay, so as far as the lift, decent. This is similar to the Jerry's one, especially on the blue. Okay, we're going with red. Now, red is a lot of times a more staining color, so we might see. Oh, okay. This red is more one of those orangey reds. So we know what that's going to mean for our color mixing, but it does lift better. Let me just throw a little swatch of that pink. And this pink is a little bit too blue leaning, so that's also going to limit some of our color mixing possibilities. These do feel kind of chalky, but I mean they have a surprising amount of pigment for how chalky they are. All right, let's mix up our colors here, starting with what should be. Yep, this is just going to be black or brown. Cannot mix with that red a purple color, but let's try the same thing with the pink. Man, my hair is everywhere today. We can mix up a nice purple with the pink color though, so at least that's in there, but it would not be a super great orange with that pink color. So at least you have both of those. And then let's try our green. We can mix up a pretty decent green. Nice and vibrant with those two colors. So dispersing of color, it really is going to kind of depend on what you like. I do personally like where there's kind of a nice, like you can kind of tell between the areas. You can get that to be smoother, but I like when there are some of those effects because it's going to unlock some other fun things you can do by kind of using the nature of the watercolors to kind of do different things. So I like that more than I would like something like the Prang or that Jack Richardson, which it just kind of all flows together, you know? I like when you can kind of see some of those effects. Yes, okay, so hold on, let's give this a rating, and then maybe we can actually rank these on this page. I'm gonna give these ones also a meh plus because they have a surprising amount of pigment. I don't like the red personally, but you can still do quite a bit because you also have a pink. So I'm gonna give this one a meh plus to a maybe. I don't know. I kind of like these. I kind of don't. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've seen on this page. If you want, you can go ahead and screenshot this. So I have done this with my palette. Just there's a question about that. I wasn't going to do that today just because this was meant to be kind of what you can buy from like Jerry's or Blick for today, but I do have a comparison of that somewhere where I can kind of post. You center the page. Let's see, is that a little better? There we go. All right, so this one looks like, I've seen a bunch of people say that they like Sargent, so let's put this as our number one. This is the number one. And then, I would actually kind of put the Jerry's and the Pelican as a tie for number two. You might have slightly different opinions on this than I do, just kind of the nature of this. And then, you know, this is really kind of changing. Oh man, this is hard on this page for me because like the Prang, I think I want to like the Jack better than the Prang, but I like this neutral blue because we were able to get some different colors. I'm gonna give these kind of a tie for number three on this page. So that is our first page. You've got about 5 more seconds if you wanted to screenshot this. Yeah, the variety, it can, but man, okay, this is one thing I really like about some of the nicer quality of some pigments is where it gets this really interesting little, I don't know, like these little backgrounds or the cauliflower kind of patterns in them. And you don't really get that as much with this. So yeah, your rankings can totally be different because you might be looking for slightly different things in watercolor than I am. And that is 100% okay. The Sargent paint set. So the Sargent one, so this was our winner on this page. And the unfortunate thing about this is that the packaging, this actually came to me cracked, so it cracked in the mail, and then it just immediately kind of fell off. And since this is more of a kids type palette, I imagine the first time they use this, this is not going to be super great. And these little wells are not quite big enough to do a lot of mixing. Plus, since they crack so much, they're going to possibly leak. But again, great color. So yeah, this is, as you can kind of see in the comments, we all have slightly different opinions, and like, I agree with what everybody is saying, and that's kind of the hard thing. Like, I was gonna make a big long video where I like really compared these, but man, when you look at each one of these, you can consider so many different variables that would make some edge out other ones if you look at them from slightly different angles. And that's just, it's really hard to kind of figure that out. So 100%. Yes, and then the Jack one is, it looks like this. This one, has similar kind of problems where these wells aren't going to do much of anything for mixing for you. But this one feels like sturdier packaging. I feel like a kid could use this at least a few times before it broke. Hi, Monica. AKA buy them all. No, you definitely don't need to buy every single one. And let's move on to the next page. So now we're going to kind of be stepping up a slight level. You can get replacements for the Prang. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Thank you. All right, so we left off at Pelican. So we're going to be jumping up now towards the $18 and $19 range. So these still under 20, but slightly more. Where are they? I've got them everywhere. So the fan pan is $1, and this one is $19. And then the Kuretake Gonzai Tombe, I think is how you say this. I don't know. If anybody knows how to say this, let me know. So, a few things about these. So these have some interest. Both of these are kind of interesting packaging. This is just in some like cardboard, which is great because it does reduce the amount of plastic in here, although there is this plastic insert, and these are not, you can just, if you knock these over, they just fall out. So that is a little frustrating. And these look like, this is how they came. I've only used these a couple times. So they have these big, huge pans. This would be like a even more than a full pan, but they're not really filled in there. So they kind of look like you get a ton, but I bet this only has about a half pan worth of color in each of these, which kind of feels like a missed opportunity, but I don't know. Oh, the paper is just Canson today. I'm going to keep the paper the same so that we're kind of comparing on the same. The fan pan actually did come with one of those water brushes that I took out apparently, and I don't know where it is. So it did come with that, and then it has this little sponge so that you can kind of control the amount of color, but there's no mixing well, and I think part of that is because there are so many colors in here you wouldn't really need to mix up. Now, in my actual testing, when I swatched every single one of these colors, some of these colors are indistinguishable from each other. So it says it's 42 colors, but I think when I actually tested this, that's not really entirely true. It's more like 30 because there are so many that are like the exact same color when you swatch them that you can't actually tell the difference between them. So I don't know if I would entirely classify that as, I don't know, it seems a little overkill. Not only that, but my other complaint with these is you can actually kind of see this happening here. Look, as they dried, they just kind of flake and they fall off. And I don't like that because this is meant to be kind of an out in the wild kind of a thing. And so, oh my goodness. Okay, I should not have these under there. And that is a problem. That is a problem for me, is if you were trying to paint with these in the wild and this was flaking off, or you were trying to kind of put these in a travel set, that would be a problem. And I'm losing color constantly. But that doesn't mean they're not good, so we're going to definitely test those. We're going to start with these ones because these ones are about $1 cheaper. let's see, can I put this? No, I can actually put this one. Let's put it above for this. So we got our yellow. This one again comes with a yellow ochre. Love when a set has a yellow ochre. This is the brightest red, and that's the blue. So this one is Kuretake, which is, I'm going to have to write it anyways. Kuretake, or Kuretake, is I think the main brand of this. I'm a little bit confused to the brand name because I bought some other watercolors that were also called Kuretake Gonzai Tombi that were by a different brand. And when I did a little research, it kind of made it seem like this is just I think it's the Japanese style of watercolors. So if you search for these, you'll be able to find them under Kuretake. But I don't know. Does anybody else know? And these ones are $18. So you get 12 colors for $18. These are also semi-moist, and typically when you see something as a semi-moist watercolor, that means it's going to have better lifting capabilities. So starting off with the yellow, pretty decent color, not super duper pigmented, but pretty decent color. Lifts great, as kind of I mentioned, since it is a semi-moist, which you can usually kind of tell if they feel more tacky than chalky. That's going to mean they're more semi-moist. And then into the blue. This is more of like an ultramarine blue. Ultramarine is not one of my favorite blue colors in watercolor because I find most of them, other than Koi actually has a really good ultramarine, but most ultramarines kind of look like this. They're not super duper pigmented. They're pretty grainy, which can be beautiful, but I don't know. They just kind of are ho-hum for me, ultramarines. Yeah, these are really shallow and they're only like half full. And then into this is kind of a red, pink, magenta-esque color. I do like this color a lot. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I do think it's going to limit some color mixing. Oh my goodness, look at that. I love when that kind of happens. It kind of like fingers down into all the different colors. And then one other kind of tricky thing about these is they don't come with any sort of a mixing well, and I forgot about that, so let me find something to mix up our mixed colors. If you are in the market for a mixing well of any sort, I love these. They're called like muffin tin mixing wells. I think this one's from Michael's. They're like $2, but you have the nice flat areas to get more saturated areas, and these wells are super deep. So these would also be pretty good for kids because they're pretty sturdy, and nice deep wells means that there's going to be less spillage. Oh, the lift. Oh my goodness. Sorry, thank you. Lifts pretty good. That would have lifted even better had I not waited so long. Sorry about that. Okay, let's start with the purple. Need a little more of that blue. Pretty decent purple. Yellow. Plus this blue. Pretty decent green too. And this one also comes with a couple different greens. So I like this set. I kind of like the packaging. I like that there is a nice yellow ochre in it, which is always a bonus for me. And And then I feel like actually one other thing about this set, this color here, let's see if it is a nice Prussian blue or kind of Prussian-esque blue. And I do love those more steely blue colors. So I don't know, how should we rate this one? I'm a little torn on this one. A plus. We're just going to give this one a plus. I think it's fairly good value. Has better saturation than some of these other colors here. Like you can kind of see right off the bat. We're getting more into more saturation with, especially on like this pink color. This one, I love that color so much. Okay, cool. So this one's a plus. And then let's go into this fan pan one. The hardest part of this is going to be trying to figure out what color. So I want a pretty neutral yellow. I'm kind of thinking one of these. See, even look here. These two colors are the same color. Same color. Yeah, that's one of the things that bugged me about that. But I think I'm going to go with this color here. And then the other thing I don't like about these is some of these ones that are further back here. It makes it really hard to get to. Some of this is kind of nitpicky stuff, but that's what we got to talk about. So I need to kind of figure out which one of these reds is going to be better for our mixing. That could be pretty decent. That could be okay. Is this one the magenta one? I'm trying to see. No, that's a little different. Okay. I think I'm going to go with the second one here as my red. Okay. All right, we're going to have to start. So I'm going to be doing that one, but I don't want to wet it yet. And since we're going yellow, blue, let's figure out what blue we're going to use. Let's check. Man, I wish that in lives it recorded the comments because I would love to be able to look back at what some of you were saying about the different colors. Maybe this would be a more neutral blue. Maybe. Gosh, see, even those two colors look so similar. One thing, I think I'm going to go with this. I think that's the most neutral blue. This one's, I don't know. One thing I want to talk about really quick, when we're looking at something like this that has a ton of different colors in it and is kind of meant to like be used as it is and you don't need any of these extra colors. One main downfall with that is even if you are not ready for the day, anyways, even though we have 42 colors here, we don't have very many muted colors. We don't have much subtlety. And so you're still going to end up needing to mix some colors, even though you have access to so many different ones. So it does record, usually it records the live and then I will upload it to YouTube. Every once in a while it doesn't actually record it though. But it doesn't show the comments and I wish it did. I wish it showed the comments in the lives because sometimes you guys have really good feedback and also just kind of helpful insights. So Fan Pan. This is a great yellow. Love it, love it, love it. Some of these have really good saturation. Other ones don't. Within this set, it's got good lifting. This one ranges about $19 to $20 depending on where you get it. I'm going to put it at $19 because I think that's what I paid for it. And then let's move this one over here. I think I said I was going to do this red And then, yep, here's a big flake of that color. That whole color is just going to come out pretty soon. And then I said this blue here. A different brand fan pan. This is the only one I found on Blick and Jerry's. What brand does yours say? Because mine literally just says fan pan. It's a decent, again, this is kind of similar to a lot of what I'm talking about with those ultramarines, where most of them just don't have that great of saturation, so it's just not one of my favorites. Great lifting, though. Yeah, if you guys have recommendations, because I love the concept of this. I was really excited about it. And then when I swatched them and there were so many of the same colors, I was kind of like, I feel like I got a little ripped off. And then now that I'm having all this cracking, beautiful. Love this color, though. Absolutely love this color. Nice saturation. And keep in mind, this one did, personally, in my experience, it had a lot of differing quality in the colors. So it had some really good ones that had great saturation, and it had other ones that were okay with saturation levels or pigmentation. And let's mix up our purple. Oh, got way too much red. It's a nice purple color. Now let's do our green. Oh. I don't know why, but this, see, and then it's got all that color on the bottom. I don't know. This is not my, this one is probably just not my jam. If you like this one, I mean, and I'm thinking you probably have a slightly different version of this. Mizu Love. I'm going to write that down. Art Me. Okay, maybe I need to try a different one, because, yeah, this one is, to me, it's really difficult to use. It's difficult to get to the different colors. I don't know how to rate this, because I feel like it's good value for money. You get a bunch of different colors. The saturation on a lot of these colors is really good, or the pigmentation is pretty decent. But I find it hard to use, and I'm having some quality issues, obviously with this. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we give it a good solid meh? Because it really is kind of balanced. It's like it's good, but it's bad. Yeah, I mean, so I see what you're saying about just kind of grabbing color from these and not putting as much water in, but I want to make sure I'm giving everything I'm testing kind of an equal footing, and so if I don't let it sit, I won't get as much pigmentation, so it is kind of harder. I'm going to keep it at a meh, because I'm seeing people say plus and minus for it. I'm just going to say good, but has issues. This watercolor set needs to go to therapy to figure itself out. Okay, all right. Moving on, so we were at the $19 range. Now I've got one that is $20. This is the Derwent Inktense paint pan set. Say that 10 times fast. I won't, because I don't think I can. Has a little thing in here. This one, It does come with a little pen, and I like the little sponge, and it has some decent mixing wells in here. But you can kind of already tell these feel way more chalky than even some of the kids sets. They're almost like chalky, waxy color, kind of. That doesn't mean they're not going to be good, but they don't scream quality at me. Described you good, but has issues. Don't we all? Daughter took that set all through North Africa and Europe. Oh, that's so neat. Okay, so here's the yellow I'm going to use. Mid ultramarine. This one says bright blue, so we're going to try that bright blue. It's like almost repelling the water. Cool. Cool, cool. Poppy red. This one is a practical set as far as you'd be able to kind of mix up all your colors and things with it. It would be nice to travel with, but is the quality going to be good enough? Derwent. These were about $20. They have a bunch of different sets of these too. It looks like someone took them and set them in a closet for 2 years. Yeah, it kind of does. And I bought these all around Christmas time, so these should not be super old. I mean, who knows how long they sat where they were, but, you know. Okay, I'm going to grab some of this. All right, despite its initial chalky appearance, I am able to get a decent amount in my brush, so let's hold hope. Let's hold hope. Low-key mom brag. Not even low-key. I mean, were you the one that your daughter took the set all across Africa? That's a high key. That's amazing. Great pigmentation. Really surprising for how that looked. Lifting. Okay, this is more of a staining. Although, these do say Inktense, so if these are more of an ink-based thing, we shouldn't expect as much lifting from them, because that means they're going to be more staining. It's going to soak into the paper a little bit more. So that kind of tracks. It makes sense. Then let's go into this blue. Love that blue. This is kind of more almost like a Prussian type blue. Love the color though. Again, not super great lifting, but again, it does say an ink. There's ink is in the name, so I'm not going to expect these to lift super well. You can lift though. Yeah, wasn't that one surprising? Because that one looked like, I don't know, it looked like it wasn't even going to work when we first looked at it, but lo and behold, very nice. And I think we're going to see something similar here. Gorgeous. This is called Poppy Red, and man, it does. I would love to paint some poppies with this color. I did actually paint some poppies recently. As a side note, sometime soon, I'm going to list some different paintings, one of which is actually poppies. I did a few things that were inspired by Ukraine, and I'm going to list them, and I'm going to donate all the money that I make from any sales that include purchases of those paintings. So that will probably come in the next week or something. All right, let's mix up our colors. This is very surprising. Just based on kind of what they look like. This is the box. Okay, we're mixing up a purple. Oop, I went way too much with that. Okay, I went way too far with the blue, but I think we just need to see this color because I can just tell this is going to be gorgeous. Ooh. So this is that blue with just a little bit of that red. Absolutely stunning. Love that color. Let me bring it back more towards that purple because that's the goal here. Okay. It's an okay mix. It's a little more muted than I would like for the purple, but there's a different blue, so we might be able to get a little bit slightly different. I don't know. But that, wow. Below the palette, if you're asking me to show something, can you, I think I might have lost part of the comment. Okay, let's mix up the green. Taking this blue. Yeah, it does kind of look like black. Exactly, yes. So yeah, you guys are kind of catching on some of the things I look for in the palettes is we want these three colors to be very neutral to make sure, or lean more towards like a magenta, especially in the red, because it's going to open up the possibilities of mixing, meaning you need less colors to do a lot more. Now that's beautiful green. I don't know what you guys think, but I personally think that this one deserves a plus. I think it's at least as good as this one. And even though it kind of looks like it's not going to be great, it actually is very, very good. The set on top is the one that we were doing here. This is called Derwent. It's this one. It came in there. Ooh, we got some plus, plus, plus. Yeah, we're gonna rate this one a plus. I think we're gonna have a hard time. Actually, no, I think I know what we'll do. I think I know what I'm gonna, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out. Okay. So moving on next. So that one was at $20. Actually, let's put the plus here. The next one is this Marie's. I don't know why I'm struggling to say Marie. Marie. Where is it? Okay, so from my recollection, I remember I liked the packaging on this one. Comes with this little sleeve. Oh, what was in that palette? Yes, it's a little watercolor brush pen so that, like somebody else who said they traveled with it, you can fill up this little reservoir and then it's just a little paintbrush. You screw that on. So you can kind of travel and paint on the go. I don't particularly like, even when I paint outside, I don't usually use those brush pens just because I like the bristles on other ones better, but that's just personally. Okay. So here is the packaging for this one. This one feels really sturdy, like in comparison to that previous one. This is definitely a thicker, more sturdy type of plastic. And it comes with a little swatching color. We get more colors. And this is so cute. Little water container. And it also comes with a brush pen. This one was $25. So this one's Marie's. We get more colors, but is it going to stack up to the other one? So yeah, some of you who know, I also have my own palette, and I'm not including this on this one because I also want this to be kind of like what maybe other people have or might buy if you are looking somewhere where you can't purchase my palette. But one of the things you'll notice is when I was designing my palette, I made sure that a few things like what you're seeing now is that pink or red type color, there's at least one pink that's going to give you some really nice mixing possibilities and things like that. And that doesn't just have to go with my palette, but if you're looking at any palette, that's really what you want to look for to make sure that you're going to get the best range of use from it. Okay, so I think this one's a magenta. That's more of a purple, so we're gonna go with this blue here. This is, I think, their ultramarine. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this little thing, but it is so cute. And it's actually ceramic. Like, this is a little ceramic piece, and I love this little sponge. You bought this set to travel Mexico with? Oh, that's cool. All right, we're gonna start off. I need another paper towel for my lifting. Another look at the set. Yeah, I don't know what it is about little things like this. Just so cute. So this is the set. Let's go ahead and let's start swatching. I can kind of show you some of these things again. I want to make sure we stay a little bit on track here, because we still have some more to get through. Okay. Beautiful color. Great saturation. It doesn't disperse kind of quite how I'd like, but it works pretty well. Great lifting, good lifting. You just want the tiny ceramic thing. Yeah, what is it about little tiny things that are just so cute? Like, I don't even know when I would use that. This is more of an ultramarine, so it's going to still have some of those same things that we've kind of talked about that I don't particularly like about it, but it does have, I find, better saturation than a lot of the other ones. Good lifting. Ultramarines typically have pretty decent lifting because they're more of a granulating color, and then this one is more of a magenta. So we should be able to get brighter colors. Let me see if I can get a little more saturation there. Nope, that is the saturation I'm going to get from that. Still like the color, but it could be a little more saturated. $25 tiny mixing pan, yes. Let's see a mix. All right, so we're going to take the blue, Mogi's hair does not need to be involved in this, and some of this pink. I think I added quite a bit of water, so it's not going to be super saturated. So let me try to get some more saturation there because my brush had a bunch of water. You can get a really nice, yes, that's a great purple. And then let's try for that green. Maybe a little bit more of that yellow. Pretty decent green too. So this one has some really good mixing possibilities. As far as saturation, I don't know. I like this one. I would probably give this one a plus as well. I'm not absolutely blown away by it, but I like the packaging. It's got some good extras. It's got some extra colors, which is nice. And it has some of those nice neutral colors in it too. Red lift. Oh my goodness. Why do I always forget on the red? Pretty decent lift. Thank you guys for keeping me on track. Okay, so next up for $25 is this one called Soho, and this one's pretty interesting. I have some issues with this one, but this one comes with 36 colors. This is another one of those semi-moist ones, so it should have really good lifting in it. I like the big tin it comes in. I will show you the main issue I have with this Soho one. Oh, we're going to give this one a plus, sorry. It's an art opportunity. You've seen these ones, these Soho ones? Okay. So just for those of you who missed the first page, I will be kind of going over, and we'll take a look at the packaging for all the ones that we have on this page in a minute, just to kind of compare. So here is my main thing with this is these are loose in here, and I have dumped these on the floor like 10 different times, which is not ideal. And then I have to try to put them back into order so that I know what the colors are, and that just takes me a lot of time. So I wish these were secured in here. See, you can even see. That's my main issue with these colors. So all the palettes I'm testing today, I bought from Blick or Jerry's. Most of them are also available on Amazon. But yeah. Okay, so let's grab our yellow is pretty neutral here. I need to remind myself which of these is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be this. This one here is a nice kind of medium red magenta color. I could, yeah. I just wish they came that way so that I didn't have to spend the extra, I don't know. You'll see. I am going to show you guys one extra bonus on this, but we'll get there in a second. And then as far as the blue, I think I liked, I got to test these blues to see which one is going to be better for our mixing. So here's one, like the color, but is it going to be, that's more along the lines of the color we've been using. Ooh, I think I might go for this one, which is supposed to be a deep blue. Okay. All right, I've got my 3 colors here. So this one is called Soho. And it was about $25. No, they're not magnetic. That's the other thing. So I feel like there were so many different things they could have done, because this is a tin. This one also is one of the only sets that I bought that comes with some metallic colors in it and some neons. So there are some definite added benefits to this set. But let's just kind of do our normal testing here, and then we can talk about some of the pros and cons. Grabbing some of that yellow. Really nice saturation. Nice pigmentation here. Oops. That there is just something that was in my brush, that color. Don't judge this for that I didn't wash my brush well enough. Let's try to lift it. Pretty decent lifting. These are better filled than those Kuretake Gansai ones, but they're not like, they could actually have more color in them. I wish they were a little more filled, but they're better filled than the previous ones. Oh, and we need blue next. Love this blue color. This might not have been the best choice for the mixing. This might be my fault. I should have just stuck with the middle one, but I like this color better. That's just a personal preference. I like how this one moves too. Lifts really well. This would make for beautiful skies. Look how well you could lift some of those clouds out. And then here is a red, magenta type color. Love how this one moves. One of my favorite things is magentas usually move really interesting, and so that is another thing I look for in a nice magenta. Let's mix up our colors. A little blue. And where is that? Here it is. So this. It's going to make a gorgeous purple. Kind of like a violet purple. I could add a little more of that blue. but I like that color. And there are other blue options, so we're going to be able to mix up different types of purples too, depending on what the color is. But for what we currently have, that's what you're going to get. Let's mix up our green as well using those same colors. This is going to be a nice green. Love it. Kind of like a forest green. So another thing you guys can notice is the colors that we can get depending on kind of those undertones. Doing some practice like this is also just going to help you understand. I personally really like this set, so my opinions on this are going to be biased because I like it, because you have a lot of other possibilities. Like, look at this color. Check out that neon. This is just such a stunning color. It's got really good, or at least decent metallics. I don't know if they're not my favorite metallics, but it has them in there, and so you wouldn't need to buy a bunch of different sets. And it's got it has a neon yellow. The neon yellow is meh, but the orange, the pink is pretty nice too. The only thing bad I have to say about this is I wish that the pans were attached. So I personally would give these a plus plus. You guys might have slightly different opinions on that, but I like the set of colors here. I think you get a decent amount of color too, because these are full pans. They're not entirely filled, but you're definitely going to get more than a half pan. They lift well. Oh, I forgot the lifting. Sorry. That's going to be too wet. Let's see if I can lift after the fact. The red, yes. I'm sorry. I get too excited about mixing the colors, but it lifts well. There we go. It lifts well. I'm sure you guys are every single time. Even that time in my head, I was like, I'm not going to forget it. I'm not going to forget it. I forgot it. Of course I forgot it. Okay. So let's reflect on these ones. Can you see the neon pink? This looks more purple on camera than it does in person, just so you know. This is the one labeled Easy Lift. So I'm going to rank these. If I were to rank on this page, I would, this is all my opinion, so you guys can disagree. I would put this one at number 1. I would do, personally, I would do a tie between Derwent and Marie's for number 2. I would put the Kuretake at number 3, and I would put this one at number 4. I personally had a lot of issues, although it sounds like this one can be better if it's a different brand, or maybe I'm just having some really unique problems with it. So this one, let's put an asterisk on this because it kind of sounds like some of these are my problems. Other people are not having some of those same problems. So there's a white in a lot of different ones. You can use white. I just don't use it very often, but it can be really helpful for fixing mistakes, adding highlights, that type of a thing on top of things. We wanted to see this one metallic that I sprayed as well. Ooh, I got a lot in there. Pretty decent for that metallic. All right. So this one was the Soho. So it comes in something like this. That was the bottom one. This one's $25-ish. I have to figure out, these are going to be spread out across my floor for the next day or so while they all dry out. It's going to be like walking through a minefield. This was the Marie's one. Marie's one does come with some extras, which I think does kind of help justify the slight increase in the price and the packaging. This little Derwent one, I mean, this is sturdy enough, but when you're holding these two, this it is thicker plastic. It does feel more durable than this one. This one uses thinner stuff, so, yeah. And then the fan pan is this one. Let's see if I can move it without it flaking too much, because this is the one that flaked. And that Kuretake one is this one. Like, the funny thing is, these look like way bigger pans than those Soho ones, but I bet they hold the same amount. Okay, moving on. I do not ever really use watercolor pencils. I get that question a lot. They're just, I don't know, they just don't do much for me. My palette is in the $20 range because, yes, I think that I designed mine to kind of be in this range, but have a few more mixing possibilities with some brighter colors and things like that. So yeah, mine would fall kind of right within some of these. It might have some better pigmentation on a few colors than some of these. But yeah, mine is going to be kind of in this range of pigmentation as well as the price range. So, moving on to, do you guys want me to do koi? We've done koi quite a bit. They are technically the next up. What time is it? We are getting close to time, so we can either do koi, we can throw koi in here, which would be another one that's kind of in this price range, or we can take that time and we can go up to core, and I bought this is Daniel Smith. This one was about $40 for these 6 colors, because Daniel Smith is kind of the gold standard for watercolor, and in the, like, if you get the tubes, you get a huge variety of colors, but I wanted to test their dried pans. And then Core is Golden's brand. They're another really nice brand as well, but this is a kind of a smaller package. This one was about $60, but you get 12 colors, and this one is 6. So we can throw in koi, or would you guys rather just do these two? With the big boys? Skip koi. All right, cool. One thing I will say about koi, I like it. I do recommend it, and I find that their blues are usually what puts them over the edge. They've got great blues in koi. Okay. All right, we're ending with the 2 big boys. We're going to start with Daniel Smith. Now, Daniel Smith is well known for being pricey, pricey, pricey. Their tubes go from anywhere between, like, depending on where you buy them, like, a single tube of color will be like $10 to $30, depending on the color. So it comes with this. This is the mixing set, so it's meant to be able to mix a lot of colors. I do love this. This is so pretty. See if I can get it open though. Okay. This just comes with 3 or 6 colors. So we have 2 different sets. The way these are kind of set up, well, we've got like a yellow ochre, we've got a magenta-esque color, 2 blues, and then this is, I think, a burnt sienna. What is this one? This is a red oxide. You can do almost everything you would possibly ever need to do with these colors here, and then you can see they come with empty pans, so you can fill them up if you have some of their colors. But we're gonna do this top row of colors here. $40 for this, yes. So keep in mind that I will say I have tested some of their tube colors, and they are stunning. They are absolutely beautiful. You can kind of understand why they cost a lot of money to a certain degree. I'm not saying go out and spend all your money on these, but it makes sense when you do test them why they are so good. But, you know, we should have higher expectations for this. It's a smaller package, we get less colors, and it is a lot more than anything else we've tested. So we should have high hopes. Let's start with our yellow. Okay, great yellow. Love it, love it, love it. This one is dispersing nicely. It moves great. Lifts nice. Let's go into this blue. I have a bad opinion of Arteza. I got some tubes from them. I put them in some pots and they molded. It's the only ones I've ever had that molded. This is a nice blue. So far, you can kind of tell why these ones do seem to have better pigmentation. Now, I don't know if it's better enough to justify the price point for most people, but it is, that blue is a little bit better than some of the other ones. Let's get this kind of magenta type color. And this one, this is where this kind of fell apart for me. They have some beautiful magentas. I'm not really sure why they included this one, because this one is good, but I don't think it's even as good as some of the other ones. All right, look at me now. Lifting on the red and not forgetting. Lifts pretty well. I like this one, but it doesn't feel as pigmented or as saturated or kind of as luxurious as these other twos. And I've used some of their other ones that are, and so I don't know why they chose that one specifically. Maybe it was just kind of within the color range to help you do the most with it. Let's mix up our colors. We get, I mean, that purple is stunning that you can mix up. And it's a pretty decent green. That's a nice green. I like that. I do have to say, when I was testing these, there's not very many of these, and since this one is more pricey, let's just go ahead and swatch these other ones. Because I remember when I swatched these ones, I was pretty disappointed. I'd had experience with Daniel Smith. I'd really liked them, and I thought this would be a great way to kind of make these more accessible. And I kind of was disappointed with the color choices that they put in these. They didn't feel as luxurious. So let's just quickly see. I like this blue. I like that. That's nice. I always love when they include a nice yellow ochre, but see, this pigmentation lacks for me in that yellow ochre. It really lacks. And then this red oxide color. I like this one. So when I was testing these for $40 in this little package, love that. The ones that really fell down for me were these two, with this one. So when I was testing these for $40 in this little package, love that. The ones that really fell down for me were these two, which were actually the colors I was most looking forward to, that magenta and that yellow ochre color. And so that was pretty disappointing, because for $40 on 6 colors, I want all 6 of them to be great. These 4 are beautiful and stunning, but man, if you were going to dive into the Daniel Smith one, I'm not sure this is the best set to grab. You want me to mix this blue with the yellow? Gonna get more of kind of a neon. Yes, so that's nice. This does, I mean, you could do a lot with this set. I just feel like when you compare all the brands together and all their packaging and all their possibilities and colors and things like that, since we have to kind of count these two kind of out. I mean, you can use them. They're going to be good. They're going to be better than some of the lower quality brands and things like that. But I just feel like with these, I hold them up to a higher standard. So let's see. So yeah, I'm going to give these, I am going to give these a meh plus, and it hurts me to do that because these ones are $40. $40 for 6 colors. So there's that. Okay, core. Now I started watercolor using, I was gifted when I like really got into it, I was gifted some of the Core tubes, so I've always been a fan of theirs. This little set here, you'll see I have been using it more recently, and so it's pretty messy. But this is actually silicone, and I'm not entirely sure how much I like it. The one thing I did not like about these was until I started using them, and as you can see, they're very messy. So let's try to clean up some of these colors. Because this is in silicone, these were kind of popping out a little bit because it's a more pliable type texture. But once I started using them, they actually did kind of set in place, and so that's great. Now, I gotta clean up some of these colors. I was doing some quick painting. I will show you, this is the reason why I love Core, is this right here, this color right here. So this is the color I'm going to use as my red. I like their phthalo blue too. They've got, we can actually see our little thing here. But yeah, I'm going to use this, and I think I'm going to use this one here, which it looks way more like a yellow ochre, but it actually is more of kind of a neutral yellow. So these ones are more pricey. This is Core. This is Golden's brand. And these were, let me see, I think they were $59. So this is more on the pricey range. I mean, you can spend a lot more on watercolors too, just so you know. But these are the pricier ones of what I bought. And these ones, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm not going to pre-wet these, because that is one thing I have found with Core is you can get almost total saturation. These are like the one that I have ever tested where you do not need to pre-wet. You get color right off the bat. I mean, look at how saturated those colors are. And I didn't pre-wet and let those set. They do stain a little bit more, and I think that has to do with the fact that they're way more pigmented. I think these are a little more ink-based, but I love these colors. Let's grab that phthalo blue. Not pre-wetting those colors. Oh my goodness, I love how these move. So yeah, this one is pricier, but this is, because you get way more colors than in that Daniel Smith one, this is more the quality I was looking for in the Daniel Smith, as far as pigmentation, as far as, and I could even get more technically if I were to let these sit, but I do want to just kind of show what happens with these, where you can just, it's just accessible. It's just right there. This is the color right here. This is their quinacridone magenta. This is what made me fall absolutely head over heels in love with Core, was this color right here and how it moves. Wait, I might be using a little less. Let's try to give that one a better chance to lift. You can lift a little bit. The yellow is pretty staining, at least the one I chose. And let's mix up some colors. The other unique thing about this palette is a lot of times I find, and this is hard, a lot of times when you include a purple in a palette, it's kind of the great color. It's kind of the sticking point. Like, purples are pretty hard. I'm going to show you the purple that comes in this palette though. I gotta be really careful not to grab too much of this. I grabbed too much, just automatically, but let's put a little more yellow in that. There we go. So I usually spray with water first, but these ones you don't, this is like the one that I have found that I don't need to do that with. Okay, the one other color I want to show you in here is this purple. the purple that's included in the palette is probably the prettiest purple I have ever seen. It's like my perfect purple. All right, so we are at a time check. This is a very, very biased, but I'm giving these a plus because, and some of that might have to do with the fact that these were some of the first like really good paints I ever painted with, that I am kind of biased towards them, but I love this set quite a bit, and it's mainly these two colors. So these ones I would give, I mean, obviously I would rate on this page a 1. This is the number 1 on this page. And then let's just do a quick comparison between all the different colors because we are kind of at time for today. So we're going to start, let's go all the way back to the very beginning of this. So these were the $5 to like $15 range. So you can kind of see a big difference in the saturation levels between these colors here on most of them, and how they kind of work, as well as look at how, this is one thing you can see with the Daniel Smith even, look at how much more vibrant some of these colors that we can mix up, especially those purples, with the ones in these rather than on that first one. And then, so yeah, if you didn't join at the beginning, if you're looking for budget friendly, we decided that the Sargent ones were the best value for money as far as if you're in the real budget range. They are going to be a little more chalky and things like that, and the packaging, it leaves a lot to be desired, but for $5 you get pretty decent coverage. They move more like normal watercolors. And we also like this Pelican and Jerry's. These ones go up to about $10 to $15. And then here is the mid-range ones. We like the Soho the best. You can kind of see maybe why, because it's kind of similar to some of these colors. This one I think might be the best value for money out of all the sets because you get a whole bunch of different stuff in it as well. And then somebody's requesting my palette too. I've got it swatched somewhere. Let me see if I can find the swatch. I don't have time to like swatch it out right now. Let's see. Let's see. Just so you guys can see. This is my swatching of all of those different ones. It's so much paper. Oh, here we go. So here's mine compared. You can see there's a couple other colors in mine too, but this is my watermelon color, and I'm really partial to my yellows too, and then that blue that I have, this blue. You can see it's kind of similar actually to the core one. I mean, for price point, core is slightly nicer than mine, obviously, but it is a slightly different price point, so you can see the different colors here. So yeah. All right, well, it is time for me to go feed myself some lunch. We really went over time today. I really appreciate everybody joining today. And I am going to, if this saves, I will definitely upload this so you guys can see. Also, so I did film myself swatching all of these palettes here. And I am interested in making a video comparing all of them. But if anybody has any thoughts specifically, because there were some really insightful comments I wasn't able to capture today, and I can't see them after the live ends. If anybody wants to send me an email or something with some of your general thoughts or things you wrote down about these, that might help me actually make a longer video so that you guys have some more comments, and it will also kind of help balance any biases that I personally have. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and I really enjoyed this. This was a ton of fun. We'll probably get back to, I might be taking a break next weekend. I haven't decided, But the next time you guys see me, which will either be next weekend or the weekend after, we will be back to actually painting something together. This was a nice little break for me, though, today. So thank you so much, and I hope everybody has a really, really good day.